They left my baby lifeless. He will need a wheelchair and support for everything and every day in his life. Zaire is my baby boy. He was born with congenital heart disease. 2 weeks from birth, he had his first open heart surgery. His body works with one side of his heart. Suddenly, everything got even worse. He had a seizure for 4 hours straight. Due to the lack of oxygen, he suffered severe brain damage. It was the most terrifying experience of my life. And the worst part is we kept telling the doctors something was off. He just was not acting like himself, very lethargic and weak, and they didn't pay attention to us. I remember holding him the day before. That was the last time I would hold him as I once knew him. Around midday November 2022, we received a call from the hospital. The doctor stated the nurse went into his room and was concerned for seizure activity. They later confirmed that these were indeed seizures. They supposedly gave him medicines to abort it, but it was all a lie. He was still actively seizing, hands and feet were curled, and he was non-responsive. He had been seizing non-stop for 4 hours. I was ready to do things that would put me away for a long time. I know this could have been prevented if they'd listened to our concerns. This resulted in a HIE diagnosis, dysautonomia, spastic quadriplegia, and seizure disorder. We were scared out of our minds. We had never experienced any complexities with kids in our families before. We didn't know what to expect. Doctors warned us it wasn't going to be a pretty sight. When you see your child lifeless, it's a whole different kind of feeling. And even then, they were incredibly inconsiderate. They turned a cold shoulder to Zaire and tried to get us to sign a DNR. They wanted to make preparations for end-of-life plans. Doctors told us he probably would remain in a vegetative state, and there wasn't much they could do. They left my baby lifeless, bound to a life full of therapy, medications, low range of motion, and limited mobility. He will need a wheelchair and support for everything and every day in his life. However, we know we serve a God that can take the impossible and make it possible. So we're believing he will do it, and only he can. We're praising him in the midst of the storm. I still want all the same things that I wanted before for him, which is to be who God created him to be, have an abundance of joy and happiness and love. If it were in God's will, I want him to walk, to talk, and to move his body freely like he did before, knowing that God only gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. We, for whatever reason, were chosen to parent this sweet boy, and he has shown us strength in the face of adversary numerous times. God made this life for us all, and we just continue to stay connected with that. Such an extreme task, day in and day out, but we would do it again if we had to. Take each day as a win, worry about the now, and don't look too much into the future.